Hello everybody, it's that time again. Path of Exile 3.22, Trial of the Ancestors. I'm going to try to keep this quick and dirty. There's only so many patch notes that really matter, and for my channel especially, I'm going to go ahead and jump right to Guardian. So if that's what you're here to think about, or to look at, as far as Dominating Blow is concerned, let's do it! Okay, this has changed. None of these really matter. We're looking for Sentinel of Radiant skill. It now grants level 20 and 10% of damage. Okay. Does it tell us? It still doesn't tell us what it does. Oh. What the fuck? I don't know what to say. We just gotta find out, apparently. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can find that after the fact. Get to it. We have a lot of support gems, at least, to look over. Controlled Blaze. Supports melee attack skills, providing them with a chance to ignite. Great. Deal more ignite damage for each ignite inflicted with them, but less damage. Okay. Corrupting Cry. Now inflicts corrupting blood? Enemies you... Oh, affected by the war cry or by the attacks it exerts. That could actually work. You could stack up corrupting blood pretty quickly that way. So on like a melee bleed build, or a ranged one for that matter, you could actually make that work pretty effectively. There's just a secondary source of damage. We already heard about Trauma. Basically turns any skill into Bone Shatter. Volatility. Rizlatha's Coil in a gem. Increase damage and then higher more attack and lower less. Which, that's a buff for bleeding if you're unaware. Pretty good. Flamewood. Okay. Sounds like something you'd catch when you know. I wonder how much damage that does. Is there like a Taunt Totems build that's going to happen? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Guardian's Blessing. Ah, they actually had this on Reddit. They take a percentage of their maximum life as physical damage, but they have the aura buffing us. This could be pretty good, depending on how much damage it is, and how hard it would be to make the minion either last a really long time, or have, 100% uptime. Returning Projectiles. That's another one that's been teased. Same with Sadism. I think the damage penalty on returning projectiles is actually quite high, and lends credit to the idea that the node for this is like nuked from orbit. I guess we'll find out. Sadism, damaging ailments faster, but less duration. That's a buff for bleed and ignite. Basically any ailment that doesn't stack. Locust Mine. Locust Mine is mines for attacks. Okay, sure, why not? I don't like mines. Someone tell me if that's exciting, please. Frigid Bond. For links. I wish they'd remove links from the game. Alright, Fresh Meat. Creates minions, perfect. Minions created by supported skills gain the Awakened Fury and Adrenaline for 10% of the duration, up to a maximum of 10 seconds. I don't know what Awakened Fury does. I know Adrenaline, it's very good. I'm guessing this is the first 10% of their duration, which is interesting. I'm actually kind of wondering how good that's going to be. Because I wouldn't use that while bossing with Dominating Blow, but while clearing, that might be just completely insane, because you're constantly making new minions and whatnot. Sacrifice, which sacrifices your life to add chaos damage to a spell? Every skill is Dark Pact now. Maybe they buffed Dark Pact to make up for this. I hope so. Or maybe you can stack this onto Dark Pact, which would also be kind of a... I don't know if that would be good enough. I don't know. That's interesting, but it does make me wonder about Dark Pact. I mean, Dark Pact still works for skeletons. I actually love that build. Fantastic. All right. Spellblade. Oh! This is new. If 2 weapons are equipped, each contributes 60... That's interesting. So what this does is you have added damage equal to a percentage of equipped one-handed melee weapons damage. Hopefully it's a big percentage, because Battle Mage exists, and it's not, like, completely broken or anything. 2 weapons are equipped, each contributes 60%. That's actually a big deal, because it has cleave ruling, and before, it really did not seem like dual wielding was going to give you anything. Now it does. It also is a bit detracting though, because you could have run like something for stats in the offhand, and it would have been better to just have that one big weapon. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing. It actually sounds like it might even push you more towards shields, unless you're dual wielding Rebuke of the Val, in which case, go crazy. And Devour, which I think Kitava's Feast, the Axe, basically has this built into it. Although this is probably a slightly better version, because you need to do a gem. I think people were expecting this to have some sort of a, if you devoured recently, you'd gain damage, and it doesn't have that. So I'm not sure how good this is. I'll be perfectly honest. I could see it being useful in like a cast 1 damage taken setup, because you can very easily get like a 1-link skill to clear enemies, like Reckoning or something. So you get hit, you take a bunch of damage, and then you get this huge recovery buff, which, I mean, it's something to do with extra gem slots if you're on a build with them. All right, we're going to move on from the gems because we've gone through them. Starting, we have this new Atlas passive skill that kind of jumped out to me. All hands, your maps have plus 40% chance to contain a random master encounter. This is at the cost of they don't grant master missions automatically anymore, but that's a lot. That's pretty good. The real question is, can you get multiple masters in a single map? If you can, this is probably really good. You can actually like play your gamble like you're juicing like a slot machine almost, and just get crazy stuff going on. You have Einar and Alva and I don't know, whoever else. That seems pretty good. Or like it could be pretty good. At the very least, it's kind of nice to have a button that you can push where like you won't have to worry about setting that stuff up anymore. Sometimes I just don't want to think about what I'm juicing my maps with. This is very interesting. Bold Undertakings doubles the cost of Fortune Favors the Bold, or sorry, Fortune Favors the Brave, which, if you didn't know, that's the crafting option in your map device that gives you like a league effect, except it will double the amount of league effects you get in your map, which I could see that very quickly actually becoming useful to a lot of people, because theoretically you're pushing the ceiling of what's attainable. Unless like one option is way more better than everything else, and you don't hit it often enough. Otherwise, this is really good, because I'm sure 2 more often than not will outweigh 1 of anything. I'm kind of interested to see how that goes, and it adds variety, which is kind of cool. The 7th gate. All possible league map crafting options are available while 6 gateways are allocated. Does that do what I think it does? Does that mean you can select them all at once? Or am I mistaking something here? That's wild. If that works the way I think it does, it has to be broken, right? You have going out of your way to get all of them active all the time would be like just crazy. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But I if it works the way I think it does, that has to be just completely busted. Forbidden Sanctum is back, and honestly, oof. First of all, pretty much everything out of it is tradable now, which is good. What I'm a little bit concerned about, though, is there are rare monsters now. It's harder. Also, if there are rare monsters, you have to kill all of them. And if you're too far away, the monsters are immune to damage. This is, I mean, on top of this, though, your primary defense is now also protect your resolve, but this is a little bit concerning. This Forbidden Sanctum was already kind of hard. I'm wondering if it's going to be too hard for most builds. I'm very anxious though about this. This actually sounds kind of, because if it's too hard, people are going to be upset. People have a specific memory of how Sanctum is supposed to be, and if they don't get that, GGG is going to get some real hate. And I'll tell you what, I didn't like Forbidden Sanctum. I really didn't. I thought it was too restrictive on what builds you could run. I guess now that it's just a mechanic, it's fine. I get the feeling Forbidden Tomes are going to be quite rare and also quite valuable, so it'll be fun to find them even if you don't like doing it. And that's pretty cool. Atlas changes are more or less what you'd expect, although the Val side area stuff is pretty cool. I don't remember them saying there were going to be unique ones, which is very neat. Also, apparently, level 21 corrupted gems from Val vessels is a potential reward. That seems pretty good. Especially considering now there's a node that will make them non-corrupted, so you can corrupt your corruption while you're fighting corruption, I guess. Legion got harder and doesn't give as much XP. I'm sure that's going to upset some people. It's not really going to upset me because I never did Legion rotations or anything like that. They're also a little harder, which is probably fair because It's a very farmable thing, and it's not terribly difficult. I think these are probably good changes, but they're nerfs, so I'm sorry if that affected your game plan. We're back at Guardian again, and I still don't understand what I'm looking at here, because these are the things that give new things that like really matter, because I mean, at least to me, it affects my build in a big way. And what do they do? We still don't know. These are the patch notes. This is what we're supposed to find out, and they just kind of like, yeah. Is that all Sentinel of Radiance does? 10% of damage taken from hits are taken from them before me? Because that sounds terrible. And also, like, I mean, it's not enough, so it can't be. But I don't understand. This is a very strange set of patch notes. I mean, all things aside, I'm very happy about the change to Bastion of Hope, because at least for the build I made, this works very well. It's pretty much just a net gain overall, because the block not being consistent for the attack side always sucked, but now it will be. It's very easy to get a ton of block on a Guardian, as long as you're using, you know, spells and attacks continuously, which a lot of more builds than people give credit to, they do use both quite often. I will say losing the reduced curse effect is pretty bad though. So if Sentinel of Radiance isn't big time, Dominating Blow might be a build I don't recommend to people anymore, just because I know the champion version is pretty good, the Necromancer version is pretty good, and now I might say that actually they're just better. There's no reason not to play them over this. So I'm worried until something changes, like until we know what these things do. Chieftain's been talked about. It was one of the first things teased, and it actually got all of its information pretty much right from the get-go. You get like 7 links in your body armor, either getting Fist of War or Ancestral Call built in, which is kind of nice. The really insane one, I believe, is Valico now, which gives you just your modifiers to maximum fire res applied to cold and lightning now, so getting 90% all res is probably very doable. Unfortunately, you can play a different Juggernaut. You can play a different Marauder spec and use Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame to get this node. Also, this node on Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame will probably be the most expensive one, so maybe not. It's really good though. It's like, it's so good. If your biggest concern in a build is I need more tank and you can make it work on a Chieftain, maybe you should play Chieftain, because you're going to get that tank in a huge way. You can do so much with max res. It's insanity. We got new fire notables by the Marauder. This is very needed. Lava Lash was moved there, sure, but also nearby enemies are covered in ash if you haven't moved in the past 2 seconds. Does that have a duration attached to it? Because if it's 4 seconds, this is really good. If it's you have to remain standing there after the 2 seconds, Grinding Gear Games probably doesn't understand how their game is balanced. Like this is 5-head idiot stuff, if that's actually what they think is gonna. You can't just stand there. I know Valico's is really strong, but the game still gives you too many reasons to move. I mean, how much defense are they expecting us to have? Because like these were things where we had covered in ash before. We had the other mods. So I'm looking at this, I'm just, what are they expecting? Very strange. It's like someone found a way to buff Chieftain in an interesting way, and then another person came in and nerfed it back down to where it was, but now it's conditional, so it might actually be worse, except you're tankier. So you stepped sideways, and no one's happy about it. I don't know. This feels like they have one guy at the company who hates fun. And I hope he gets a very pleasant Chris Wilson slapping him in the face at some point when they realize that this guy is ruining everything. I just invented a character to get mad at. But I mean, that's where we're at sometimes with these patch notes, I swear. Some of the changes make so little sense. And then after the league is over, we're like, yeah, that change never really was justified. Oh, well. I don't understand. This is technically a buff, but it doesn't feel good. They kind of moved the Chieftain notable for gaining fizz damage as extra fire into a notable that already existed that was consistent. Honestly, they should have just bumped it up to 15 and then like left it as it was, because no one likes every 10 seconds you get something for 4 seconds. No one likes that. Theoretically, it might be better for Ignite builds, but this is just dumb. I'm so sorry. I'm probably like shooting someone repeatedly by talking about my perceived dislike of this in the community at large, but really, I never hear anyone say anything positive about lines of text that read this way. They're not interesting, they're not fun to play around, they don't do anything cool. They just Create a hassle. I'm getting pessimistic. I'm not gonna lie. You probably already know, but man, some of these changes are like, that doesn't need to be that way, and then but it's gonna be that way now. The dirty techniques change I actually kind of like. We're losing the damage over time multi, and the faster modifier is only being increased by 5%, but then we're also getting 5% on the previous ones, which comes out to, I think, 25% faster, and that's... There needs to be more of that in modern Poe for Bleed and Ignite to survive, because we can't really keep increasing the base damage. That will create a different problem for other builds. This is kind of the way to do it. I think what they need to add is a more modifier at some point, I guess. Ancient Cascade is gone. Oh, Strength of Blood. Was it broken? I didn't actually spend any time playing with it. I knew it was good. It's just looking at it, you're like, wow, that's insane. This might still be usable, to be honest, though. It's just not as, well, universal as it used to be. And you know what? Maybe that's fair, because some builds got some crazy new toys to play with for defenses. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent about this, but I know it's a pretty sizable nerf overall. It might not be that big a nerf. If you need physical really badly, this could be a buff for some builds even. Oh, you don't get free Totem Taunt anymore, which I understand. That was very powerful if you knew how to use it. I'm kind of interested in what's replaced it, though. You know, 1% of physical attack damage each to me is life. That's pretty strong, right? Am I crazy? I know you could already get nodes like that, but now you can get this on like anyone. That's a lot of survivability, considering your totems are usually doing damage while you're moving around. So I'm kind of optimistic about that. It's terrible if you're playing Explosive Arrow. Obviously, it's a loss for that build, but that build did not have problems as far as I can tell. Ruthless works with Poison and Ignite now. See, now this is a fantastic change. I'm actually quite happy with it. Also, the combustion change is now a hybrid intel strength instead of just pure intel, which is also very good. These are some great changes to the game, because they really were just kind of limiting to what you could do with builds, and now they're gone. So that's fantastic. Added the orb tagged cremation. Oh man, that's what was unique about the skill, man. I can't believe they did that. I can believe they did that. I've been here a while. Oh, we can use flasks to heal minions now, and it'll actually be sizable. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty cool. There's been situations where a build that doesn't really have problems with this will have problems in very specific places, and a bigger heal would kind of make up for it, because generally speaking, nothing kills your minions instantly, but there are situations where they can get worn down, and having like just an extra life flask that's just meant to have like a long duration could kind of give them immortality against a powerful degen. Totems values divided by 20. That's the most direct nuke from orbit I've ever seen. All right, we have some Ruthless specific changes, which I'm honestly not even gonna look at it. That's cool. I've tried Ruthless. I really don't like it. If you like it, you're good enough at the game to know what this stuff means. I'll say that right now. There's no way you don't know. Stun immunity is dead. Crab dance. Yeah, that's great. The few enemies that still had it felt bad when your build that stuns couldn't stun them. Kitava still can't be stunned, but Kitava is kind of a non-factor enemy, which is funny to say about the campaign's boss, but he is. He doesn't do anything. Less influenced items drop from Guardians, Conquerors. Honestly, that's a good change. They dropped so many they had like no value. There was a time not that long ago where getting a good influence base meant something. And at this point in the game, it kind of means nothing, and they're not even worth what they used to be anyways. So I'm kind of glad they did that. I get the feeling it's not going to make your crafting projects much more expensive. You're probably going to have to pay like 20C for the base now instead of 2. So yeah, I mean, pretty good change. Oh, monsters don't get to cheat their regeneration while they're unable to be damaged. That's actually quite good. There's some situations where a boss that's already kind of annoying to be killed, like Shakira the Scorpion. I know that's not her name. I don't care. She's Shakira now. When she goes underground and you have like consecrated ground on the map, that can get kind of annoying pretty quickly until your damage is like absurd. But yeah, it's pretty annoying. I didn't know Sentinels of Dominance were bugged that way, but that would have resulted in single target potentially being a little lower than it should be. So I'm glad that got fixed. Doesn't mean I'm going to be playing the skill this league, because I'm pretty sure my Ascendancy got nuked from orbit. For some reason. Too powerful. Why everyone was playing it last league. And there's a nice farewell message to Bex, which of course, farewell to Bex. My favorite Twitter person ever. She changed her Twitter handle from Bex Change Words to Bex Say Swords, because it wasn't clear enough on the first one. I'll never forget that. Still hilarious to me. If it's not obvious, it's Bex Says Words. I will finally explain the joke now that she's gone. And I hope her the best. I wish her the best. I am still wondering about my Ascendancy though. This is rough. This is so rough. I don't know what to do. I'm supposed to be updating the build guide now. And it's like I still don't even know if there is a build guide. I don't understand how they don't. Maybe it's in here. Right? Maybe it's in here. Alright, well I guess if the information comes out before the video is posted, then it'll be right here after this. Otherwise, have a good one, everyone. I will probably release an update, either a build guide if Guardian is fine, which I hope it is. I'm very pessimistic about that, though. I get the feeling that one node isn't going to replace everything we lost, or enough, for that matter. Otherwise, yeah. See you in the next league. I'm probably not playing Guardian in any shape or form. Very sad to say that, but I knew at some point this build was going to get taken out, because every other build I've ever made has been taken out by GGG eventually. I'm still excited for the league because I've got other things I can play. I want to do some very ill-advised nonsense with strike skills, just to like kind of give a comprehensive analysis of how melee is in Path of Exile right now. But yeah, I'm a bit sad right now. This is these patch notes aren't Apocalypse. That's all I can say. It's not an Apocalypse. It does really suck for me personally though, and I hate that my Dominating Blow build is probably gone.